And we are back with Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus, moving on to what is probably my least favorite chapter of this
The
game.
third member of the Fiendish Five was the infamous Voodoo priestess, Ms. Ruby. Born into a family of mystics, other children found her scary. Teaching herself to summon the undead provided what few friends she had. A career in crime allowed an adult Ms. Ruby to punish the world for fearing her as a child. Chief mystic for the Fiendish Five, her powers allowed them to break both the laws of man and nature at the same time. Yet despite the whirlwind success of her youth, she managed to slip into obscurity. Last known sightings claim she headed out of civilization and deep into the Haitian jungle.
Yeah, I always never really much liked this chapter. It felt, I don't know, it felt very oppressive. I felt like some of the levels aren't that fun. Yeah, compared to most of the other chapters in this game, I feel like there's more to dislike here than most. It's very unique, I'll give them that. You know, they certainly went for it, but it's not terribly appealing.
Sorry, Sly, but this is one mission you will have to accomplish without me.
You don't believe in ghosts, do you?
Sure I do. My scanners have picked up verifiable paranormal activity. But that's not the problem. This swamp is oozing with disgusting mold and bacteria.
Suck it up, Bentley. We got work to do.
All right, then. Don't forget to use the new move you learned from Mugshot's section of the Thievius Raccoonus.
You mean the raccoon rail walk?
The roots and vines around here are perfect for that. All you gotta do is,
Jump and hit the circle button.
especially where you see the bark has been worn away, and where it's super slick from icky slime and moss, you'll rail slide like a skater grinding pipe.
I'm liking it.
Early 2000s. Yeah, the whole skater talk. But right there, it's, Bentley's like, oh, well, of course ghosts are real. I've got, like, my ghost detector on, and it's... and then later, I feel like in Sly 2, they were consistent with that, with all the, like, Contessa stuff, where he's like, yeah, this is just sort of the way things work. And then in Sly 3, he hears about the Master of Dark Earth, and it's like, it's all just mumbo-jumbo. And with the caveat that, we've done some weird stuff before. And I'm like, dude, all the way back here, you were like, oh yeah, ghosts are totally real. Anyways, back there, I want to say that I pressed circle onto one of those rails, and then I just fell right through. Not sure what happened there. Those mosquito enemies are deceptively dangerous. It's kind of weird, the animation on them. They sort of like notice you and then tense up and then relax. That relax right there isn't the end of like a notice animation or like a alert animation. That is their attack. When they go down, they are attempting to insert their sucker into you and suck out your blood. And that can be kind of difficult to evade in some cases. I get hit by it, I think, once later. Of course, we have our new ability here, walking and sliding on pipes, which I can imagine that at some point in development they weren't sure whether they wanted you to slide or walk, and in the end they just had him do both. And it would have been... They kind of try to have the walk and slide ones look different, but that only really applies to this first chapter where you have them. Throughout the rest of the series, it's not entirely clear whether a particular thing is walking or sliding. And in this game, they didn't really put the sparkles on them, a bit inconsistent there. But I'm not sure what they could have done in later games to clearly identify which one, but it's something that they... It's always a bit of weird ambiguity.
There's a bad mojo force field protecting it, so you'll have to destroy all 5 of the purple candles surrounding it.
No problem.
Don't get cocky or you'll end up with your head shrunk to the size of a pea. You've got to get past those voodoo guards, and I'm warning you, they're mean and they work like a team.
So do we, buddy.
So once again, one of the few times where there's some actual stealth and enemies don't just immediately alert all the others when you kill them, necessarily. So this is a thing that they do here in Chapter 3 and later in 4, where the end of the first level is this sort of like open-ended area with flashlight guards patrolling around, and you have to beat all of them. Yeah, they do it again next chapter, and it seemed like a thing, but they only did it for these two, so I don't know. It's almost like the game is neatly divided into two halves, you know, chapters 1 and 2, and then 3 and 4, and then the 5th one is like the final one that is different. I'm trying to remember which thing is in this vault. In the past, I think I got the water safety feature here, but we got that in the last vault. So that's right. Yes, if you've gotten all the vaults up to this point, this one gives you the makes the roll electrified, so it damages enemies. It might be useful on occasion, but like most of the abilities in this game, not terribly useful.
You've done it! The Mojo force field is down, and you can steal the key!
I guess this is another different like key pedestal here with the the stand and the force field around it. So I guess they do mix it up on occasion, beyond just that fire hydrant at the end of 2 to Tango. Alright, on to the hub area. It is nice atmosphere, you know, well executed, even if it's not my favorite.
A reading like that could only be coming off Ms. Ruby herself.
I think you're right, Sly. If you want to crack at Ms. Ruby, you're going to have to find a way inside that skull temple.
And whatever that solution is, it's probably overly complex and implausible, but hey, this is a cartoon, whatever. Okay, so we know what evil she's up to, just building up massive army, which quite fortuitous that we have decided to come here and bust up her operation a week before she takes over the entire country of Mexico.
Industrial strike Voodoo gate. Ms. Ruby must really be trying to keep something out.
Or maybe she's trying to keep something in.
I think the usual presumption, if you see like this sort of structure, is that it's to keep something in. But yeah, this was always the level that I dreaded the most, because despite everything, I was actually kind of scared of the monster as a kid. Silly now, it's pretty cartoonish, but it was also the chase aspect that we'll get into later of like, you know, it's catching up to me, it's very stressful, and now it's just like, it's just level, whatever. Although this one is another one where if you mess up with the bottles, that right here it's a little more forgiving, but later messing up with the bottles can be quite annoying. Yeah, a lot of these spiders here, they throw a lot of them at you. It's not that any one of them are particularly troublesome, but it's easy to mess up and like miss one, and like just one sort of slips through because the cane swinging is a little strange. It doesn't have I don't know. It's easy to think that you got them all and then you didn't. It's kind of hard to explain, but basically, if a single enemy is coming at you, it's probably not a problem. Any more than that, and you have to be pretty careful.
These walls are making me claustrophobic. Whoa! Did you see those reeds move? There's something huge under there. You better get going.
You know, those reeds are... How tall are reeds normally? Like, the implication seems to be that they would be, like, 10 feet tall, it's a ways down to the bottom, because otherwise there's just not enough room for the creature to move around and, like, disturb them. That was also another, I think, rare case of Bentley saying something without it switching to Binocicom mode. Just sort of happens in real time. Can't think of too many other instances in the game where that happens. Oh, can't miss any bottles. And here we go. Right up there is where we start, and... Hello, Snake Man. Or just Snake. So yeah, this thing freaked me out as a kid. And I'm not sure if there is a way to get all the bottles in one go here. But as you can see, let's just speed up. Because if I want to get that bottle that I missed, I'm going to have to die. And unfortunately, I have water safety, which means that I'm pretty much the only way to die here is to get hit by the snake. So I just zoom ahead. Fortunately, it puts me back here. And now, since I don't have to be quite as picky with the bottles, I can get more of a lead on the beast here, the monster. So this is one of the surprisingly few, like, standard platforming levels in this chapter. I think that they easily could have taken out one of the mini games, since I think that they're particularly weak here, and replaced it with another platforming level. As the game goes on, I feel like the split between mini-game levels and actual platforming levels gets a little bit out of whack. There's a little too much random nonsense that doesn't have anything to do with the core gameplay that the game is, all about.
Press the circle to enter the vault code. I had to overcome some personal demons to get the answer to this one. Try 444.
So I didn't really get this until fairly recently. You would obviously expect, oh, we gotta have an evil number for a vault in this one, this chapter. So, you would expect it to be 666, but it's kind of a, with it being 444, if you know your, like, Asian culture superstitions, you know that 4 is heavily associated with death. So that's there are probably some anime fans, or at least some people who maybe they were just it was through their relationship with Sony itself that came about, but they just knew that 4 is kind of a ominous number that we can use instead of the more on the nose and potentially controversial 666. In America it'd be like, oh, is number that be satanic, and just avoid it and use something a little bit less on the nose. So I often forget that I have the oh, that's right, what we just got was the upgrade to the Binocicom, where now you get guard information when you look at guards in the Binocicom, which I feel like I want to do that more often. And it's also interesting that you get it, well, I guess, you don't tend to see any of the guard information for previous chapters because you didn't get it until now. But I kind of want to go back through and look at all of them because some of them are kind of funny. With that guy, it says enjoys golf. He's flashlight guard, and if one of the flashlight guards here hits you, he will do a celebration animation where he like hits some like voodoo energy with his staff, like a golf club, which is nice. You know, they sort of thought out these little gimmicks for each of the enemies.
When you smash that gravestone, the ghosts stop coming. It must be some kind of ghost generator. Maybe if you smash them all, you'd be safe.
So here's another gimmick for this chapter, are these ghosts that come out of these totems, smash the totem, and they stop generating. And back there, with that little safe around the corner, that's another easy set of bottles to miss. Yeah, these swamp monster things are also tend to eat up my horseshoes. I remember these guys as enemies that I tend to take hits from a lot. This seems like one of the first times where they're doing more with the spire jump than just, you know, moving from side to side. You know, now the spire jump is, you know, has some danger to it. So, you know, they're kicking up the platforming. Right here, they cleverly, they sort of snuck those totems behind the candles. So I thought that the game had sort of broken its rules and now the candles were doing it. No, the candles mean nothing. It's the totems behind them. So I'm kind of going straight to the more platformy levels, like I mentioned. So I think the more mini-game ones are backloaded in this particular chapter. So we'll be, I think, handling most of those next time. I will say, as much as I tend not to like this chapter as much, I tend to remember most of it. Like, this room is pretty iconic. I remember all of this. You know, it's got some nice set-piece work. Up here with this, in a minute we'll get to like a chandelier, the way you're walking across it. So, I mean, even at this game's worst, if you will, it's still memorable and distinct. So, there's a lot of games that wish that their worst part was as good as Chapter 3 of Sly 1. So I'd say that's a pretty ringing endorsement of the game, that it can hold up. It's very consistent. More bottles that are easily missed here. So, I recently started and finished watching Frieren Beyond Journey's End, the anime. It was fantastic. As much as I tend not to get into, like, fantasy stuff, it's just about Lord of the Rings and that's it. I actually find myself watching quite a bit of fantasy anime. Part of it is just because of how many isekai anime there are, and I'm not immune to picking up one of those every now and again, even if it's pretty dumb. Oh, right here, I take a hit. So yeah, these mosquitoes are actually can be kind of tricky. But yeah, I was not expecting to like Frieren as much as I did. It was fantastic, and it felt very different from how most anime operate. Like, everybody is very low energy, almost very stoic, very emotionless, and yet it's never boring. You never get the feeling that you're just, you know, that it could very easily turn into like, it's just dull people speaking in monotone, but that never happens. They find a way to make them, they have very strong characters and personalities, and you get a wide range of emotions. It's just not in the over-the-top anime way, which isn't a bad thing that other anime do that, but it's impressive that Frieren managed to do that. I think it's very different, and it's just really good world building and everything. So I definitely recommend Frieren. Not that you need my recommendation; it's one of the most popular shows in recent memory, and the meme culture there is live and well. She was only on screen for a couple of scenes, but Aura the Guillotine will forever live on as a target of bullying of the Frieren fandom, and I'm all for it. It's hilarious. Alright, so now we got the plans for Ms. Ruby's area, so... And there's like... That's the thing, though. I think there's like one more level in which we even need to find any bottles. I don't think they were expecting that animation to happen inside that plant there, because I did that with the dive, which is just about the only move I ever really use. Now is this... Okay, yeah, this is one of the minigame ones. This one gave me a lot of trouble as a kid. I hated having to do this. But I eventually more or less figured out the trick. So I believe that the mistake I made doing this one as a kid was that I would get one piranha and then try to find a torch to light up, when you should probably get like, 2 or 3 shots and then hit the torches, and you should also try to, do the torches in a fairly systematic order. So like right here, I get 5 of them, then I really go to town. I also just had trouble figuring out which ones they were. And I also got it in my head that there were 2 different levels, that I would like have to do all the ones down here and then move on to the ones up a level. But no, the higher level is just where you go to get the key. So the area is smaller than I thought. But yeah, it's about being opportunistic. If you have, if you have the shots and you're next to an empty torch, an unlit torch, just, shoot it. It's fine, and then go back, pick up a couple of piranha, and then keep going. Although they can be kind of difficult to grab. I can imagine that little mini-game things like this can be kind of a nightmare for speedrunners. Maybe they handle it just fine, I don't know, but I feel like these the things where it's like, it's gotta do this to try to see if we can figure out the... I can imagine this being an unpopular part in speedruns. Then, of course, once you get enough of them, you don't even need to worry about the piranhas anymore. Just get all the torches. At the very least, I don't feel like there's any jank in lighting the torches. Like, I never feel like I go for a flare on with a flamethrower and it doesn't connect. And I also like that once you get the final torch, the time limit shuts off so that you don't have to, like, then, get up the ramp to the key. That's very helpful. Thank you for that. Designers, developers. Alright, let's open up the next area. Which, Technically, you can open this without doing the Lair of the Beast level, so this guy comes right out of nowhere, which is a bit of a shame. It's nice that that can happen. It's a shame that that can happen because it's a nice little cap off to that level that he then helps you out. But anyway, I will see you in the next part of Sly Cooper and the Thievius Raccoonus.